You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the January 9th meeting of the Michigan City Urban Enterprise Association. You can find more information for this meeting at www.accesslaportecounty.org.
I'm glad they came because they're excited about the fact that this is happening. And they're great supporters of the city and has been forever, and they all represent the urban enterprise zone in some fashion or another. And I can honestly say that Miss Linda is a guru in daycare and making sure that daycare is front and center for our babies. And then, of course, Crystal and Mr. Meriwether, our urban enterprise zone, they live there, they thrive there, and they're concerned citizens and definitely want to know exactly what we're doing here on the board. And then we have Diane, who is an appellate attorney, prosecuting attorney, property in the urban enterprise zone, her family property. And again, all of these people I've known all of my life. And then, of course, Mr. Briscoe, who is working right now on Franklin, providing technical assistance and guidance to a number of shops as a consultant. So we have all these people here today that are here to support our efforts in trying to make sure that the Urban Enterprise Association and Zone is living up to its best in the city, and any way that they can support us, they have shared with me they want to try to be supportive. So I've asked them to come here and hear what it is we're trying to do. So thank you all for coming. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Darren. Go ahead and start at the top of the agenda if you like.
Call attendance. Do we need to call attendance?
Yes.
And call officially to order at the time?
Call it and officially order, I'm sorry.
I need an agenda.
Oh,
Thank you.
I printed some. There's agendas out here for everybody.
This was for our.
There's copies. Anybody else have one?
I do.
Oh, he's got them right there.
There you go, thank you.
But we will start with an attendance. Excuse me, you have to bear with me here. We have a new board member present for the first time today too, so we'll call that to attention. But beginning with attendance, we have Tommy Amico.
Present.
Myself, present. Dave Hartz.
Present.
Jeremy.
Present.
And Councilwoman Tillman.
Present.
And our new appointee, Lawrence Zimmer.
Yes.
With the Plan Commission seat, is that correct?
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rodney.
He's on Zoom as well.
Rodney is attending remotely,
Mm-hmm.
and our only one absent, is that right? Skylar York. Okay. Did everybody get a chance to review minutes from our November 21st meeting?
I did.
Okay. Is there a motion to?
A motion to accept the minutes from November 21st.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Are any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Financial reports and claims?
We missed a meeting in December, so I had to get these approved before I can go on to the next month. Typically, in January, we do it at the end of the year, and then we do an organizational meeting with elections and all that, so we're kind of behind a month because of last month. So what you're seeing is 1130 balance. So in the Horizon checking account, it's $234,000, $9.60 money market Horizon 10,088 and 45 cents for a grand total of 245,048.
That was in the board packet that was emailed to you guys.
You know, the list of claims from January through November 30th, and new claims for approval this month, which should have been approved in December, would be our contract for December, and also the UEZ tax filing and the SEH agreement to be paid.
I have copies of the EDCMC invoice and the ICH invoice here as well, if anybody wants to look at them.
Thank you.
There's 2 pages here.
Tax,
That's 1 page.
okay. Any questions on the claims?
We have not received SEH invoice yet. The actual invoice, he said that they requested it from their accountant, but they were supposed to send it today, so.
And what was that total?
The grand total was for up to 6,000. I think they're up to 5,800 or something, so. It was not to exceed 6,000.
Are we clear on Diana yet? That we can see her name finally get off at this?
This is her, I mean, this is the.
I understand she
tax
gave the
filing for
cash check?
2021. I don't know.
But I know that she's just been on for every month for the last 12
Well,
months.
no. This has been done. That was a.
I know, but I'm just saying, why do we need to see this if it's been done?
Well, typically we give you all the payments for all the.
It's a voucher on the ledger.
If you want
We
to
need
change
to
that,
talk
we can
about
change
that.
that.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, because it's a waste of time. You just keep putting the same thing over and over and
Well,
over
you know,
again.
every board wants something different,
Yeah.
so some boards want the total list, we give you the total list. So this board
Okay.
says we want this month, we'll do that too, so.
It can be a little bit confusing, I think, to folks, and again, I'm making these suggestions as a layperson coming in and seeing his same name over and over again on every form. Why? If she's paid, the check is cashed, we're done, move it on. We don't need to keep seeing it on the claims docket. I just don't think that that's...
The board.
But it's sort of, if I may, Mr. Chair, it's sort of good to see this because it gives us the history of the tally of all the claims that got paid out for the year.
I think that's good.
But we're not at the end of the year, so we can start now 2023, January 1st.
Fresh.
I think you're right. I just don't think it needs to be on every single month. That's what I'm saying.
I would not to argue, but just comment that I would like to see a tally of expenses for the year. So if we were paying, let's just say, Xfinity $100 every month, well, we would see 100, then a 200, then a 300, then a 400. We just paid this person once, so that just has a ledger or a tally of that individual.
Well, I think it's okay that if we are paying out something monthly, to see it monthly, but if an individual has been paid a check in January and the check was cashed in February, we don't need to see the final tally or that again until the end of the year. I don't think we need to keep seeing it month after month.
You want me to do
I'd
like
like
every
to
4
think
months
so.
a list? And I
Or
can-
even a quarter. I mean, it just
I mean,
seems...
just let me know how you want to do it, and we will do it how you guys want to do it. So
I think quarterly is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to record everything, so it's there.
Right,
So,
right. I'm just trying to get clarity and allow folks when they see this, they're not confused, because it can be a little confusing.
Do we need to motion on that?
No, you don't have to motion.
You don't have to motion that.
Accounting, change. Make note of that and do it.
Thank you.
Any questions on the claims? If not, I'll ask for a motion.
Motion to accept the financial claims for ending November 30th of 2022.
I'll second that.
All right, there's a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Are any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
You should have, well, can you hand out my director's report? As of the last 2 months, we've had no residential grants nor business grants to approve, so, but at the last, October meeting, you guys approved 2, one for Senate property and one for Uptown Social. So far, I guess we can say at the end of 2022, you expended $23,500 for residential grants. $6,000 was budgeted. At the end of 2022, you expended $51,712.50. $120 was budgeted. So total grant for both programs was $75,212.50. We are planning a UEZ webinar on February 8th. It's going to be hybrid. What we're doing this year is a little different than previous years. Previous years we would strictly do a Zoom. This year, because of no COVID, We're gonna have a hybrid, so there'll be a lot of people who join us online. But we're also offering, if you want to come in for 30 minutes for hands-on assistance that day, to make an appointment, and Mr. Shook will be here to help a business file. The whole goal is to market it to people who may not be aware of the zone, or people who may have incorrectly filed in the past. We want to make sure they can come in and get hands-on help, because the whole idea is to make sure you can do it properly moving forward. So right now we'll have the existing lists of business, but we'll get a notice, and then we'll market the rest of the business within the zone, so they can come and listen on how to take advantage of this benefit. And if they want hands-on assistance, we'll have the folks here for the day.
Are we providing lunch?
No.
How are we actually advertising it where we could get a significant number of folks? Are we making
Normally,
it
we
appealing?
would send a mail out to, or email out to the current list, and then we'll do social media and put them in our monthly newsletter to everybody in the community.
We have an Urban Enterprise Zone social media?
Well, no, it'll be our social media, the EDC social media. So,
The EDC social media, not the Urban Enterprise Zone.
well,
We can put it, we can put
but we just finally got the password to get in, so after 6 months, those are things that you guys we don't complain, we just push to get. So now we got it, now we're like, okay, there's a lot of old pieces out there, so.
like 2019 was the last time.
Exactly, so now the question, do we spend money to update that, or do we just so that's a question, do we just got it, so we're looking at it now. So we'll have to come back to you at some point and say, okay, here's what we got, do we want to make it separate, or do you just want to use our newsletter? Because we haven't used it for, I guess, 2 years, it's been sitting out there.
And we also need to know what exactly we want marketed on the social media page. Do we want to focus it on the businesses, like the tax credit? Do we want to focus it on the programs that we're offering to residents and businesses?
Yeah, so we have to kind of figure out what that is.
What are we
moving
using it
forward,
for?
And not both?
We could do that.
It's about, because
Yeah.
one of the things we want to highlight is all the people who got, we've been trying to get before and after photos for all of our projects, because the whole idea is if you're part of the zone, here's how we can help you. And that's like actual money, and people will gravitate towards that, as opposed to a whole bunch of words and stuff and paragraph, like, okay, we need bullet points and pictures, so we're like, okay, how do we get that done? And so we have to come back to you at some point on getting somebody to help us with that, but again, we can do some of the editing and stuff, but that's why we get some pictures and stuff. We got some of the pictures we got so far from the current projects, so it's been a year of projects, so we can start putting those in now.
Are any of those photos actually submitted? Have those,
We have
But we asked for it,
some.
we asked for it, not everybody does, but we
Yeah.
asked for it.
okay. We
Yes.
actually have some.
We have some.
Yeah.
I think the board would love to see
I think we would.
that.
But not only that, I
We'll
think
send
we
you
need to
electronic to the kids that
Yeah.
don't pay.
No, we don't need to
No,
print it, I just,
when are we setting up an opportunity for this board to take photographs? As a board, it needs to be done.
Whenever you guys want, let's make sure everybody's here.
we'll work
That's
on
the
it,
issue.
yeah.
Let's make sure everybody's done.
In going back to the web pages, I mean, I'd like to find a way where we can, work a line with both organizations, but I think both of us need our own identity too.
Exactly.
And showing that, we do support each other, but, we have the same mission, but on different levels and different scales.
I think that's a really, really important point, but then also the marriage of the two and why it's unique. But I definitely think that we need to make sure that folks are understanding that
Oh, they are
enterprise
separate.
zone
They are
and the
separate.
economic development, those are two different entities. But I think it again gets very murky with the way everything is crossed over, because folks in the community don't quite understand it the way we do, because we're not presenting it in a manner where they can take it in and absorb it and understand it easily. And that's our fault. We need to get that together.
Yeah, I think the board needs to begin to take ownership of that, and, we've,
And I did hear that from these guys, this has been going on a long time. Way before, I guess,
Even before.
yes, before you all. And I mean, for him to say that out loud, it told me a lot. I just wasn't expecting to hear that like that this has just been a problem for a long, long time.
But it's not a problem until you know it's a problem.
Point of order.
So,
Right.
Point of order.
Point of order. Taken. Continue.
We also file our nonprofit status. I guess in the past we paid an attorney to do it, but I'm like, that's easy. We go online, click the buttons at the state office and get it done. So that's saving us $250 because I guess in the past we paid an attorney to do it. I'm like, we did it for ourselves. Why not do it for the UEZ? It's just one of those simple process that you just follow and get it done. So that's been done. We're drafting the UEZ 2022 report with some of the pictures and type of stuff, graphics to market to the community. We're also working on a 2023 budget, which we'll bring before the board next month. And also, the board asked us in October to prepare, or November to prepare an ARPA application, and we started filling it out. And when we got towards the end, we were told we can't apply for funds for the neighborhood training program. And so we pivot quickly, and so we said, what do we need monies for in the UEZ? And we moved forward and asked for the $50,000 for neighborhood grants, the way we do it now. So for housing. So we'll hopefully know something by the end of March. So we've submitted a grant on behalf of the UEZ for $50,000 for residential grants.
And that can be used for basically anything, correct?
Yeah, I was going to send those to you, but I didn't get enough time to get out to you guys. But if anybody wants an electronic copy, we'll get it to you. It was filed. The city is working with Unity Foundation, so it was sent to Unity Foundation, and they have a committee who will review it, and then at some point they'll make a decision who gets what and how much. So fingers are crossed. We'll hopefully be bringing it to you, I guess, the April meeting. So we'll know if we were successful or not. So, and that's my report. Any other questions?
The entity report. Do we have a copy of that? The entity report that was sent
It's
to
in
the
the
state.
documents.
It's in the document file. Yeah, one of the things I've asked my staff to do is go back and find all the files and put them by year and all that, the financials, all that stuff that if anybody have any questions, you can come before the meeting and there's a whole bunch of files that you can go back and look at. Because part of our job was to figure out what was there, and I know, it took us a while to figure out what was there and put it in an order where you can actually know by year and by month what is where. So that's what we've been doing. And so a lot of questions you ask, if it's a year, whatever, if the month, we can go and say, pull this file, here it is, because we didn't have that a year ago. And it's taken a while for us to put that together, so.
It's not 100% done either. This is what I've gotten done to date. It's taken a while to get through all these files.
Can I just ask a general question since I'm new and I'm still trying to learn the ropes here? So when people apply for grants, are there two different categories, business from residential?
Yes.
And what are some of the criteria that qualify somebody to apply for a grant?
So residential right now it was to be lower income, so like 40,000 I believe was the number. I can give you copies of the applications if you'd like to look them over. It has all the qualifications on there as well as what they need to apply, what documents they need.
And what is 40,000?
That was the income cap for residential
Okay.
grants.
Got it.
Yeah.
So it's based on the median income for Michigan City.
And then what do they apply for though? So they get money, but to do what with it?
Home repairs typically. We've had people do like bathrooms, fencing, roofs, windows,
water heaters,
air conditioners.
furnaces, driveways.
Windows, yeah, okay.
It's up to the board to decide whether or not to grant it.
It can be anything from curb and gutter to interior necessities, water heaters, water softeners, furnaces, and so
So
forth.
this is not a loan, it's actually somebody.
It's a matching
giving
grant.
money.
It's,
Okay.
it's matching grant.
It is on the back end too, so the investment comes from, in this case, the homeowner on the front end, and then the grant
Reimburse.
reimburse.
So they have to show receipts and that type of
Yes.
thing? Okay, yeah.
They have to provide estimates beforehand from a number of different sources. And and then once the work is completed, go back out, qualify, and then that's when they are.
Does somebody inspect the work?
Well, if it's, they're supposed to pull a city permit, so.
Okay, so as long as it's got the permit and the permit is, they've got the certificate of occupancy or whatever.
Yeah, whatever
That's
it's-
all you need.
And they must be within the zone.
Right. The urban enterprise.
Now businesses is more facade type of things for
Right.
business grants.
Right,
or
material
something attached to the
improvements.
building.
Yeah, attached, not so much.
Equipment.
Yeah.
Not operations.
No.
It depends. It is somewhat case by case. Like if a restaurant is to operate, we would look at trade fixtures because that is more of a permanent. But if it's, we had a number, but
Tables or chairs or something
And
that
refrigerators.
can be
Right.
taken out.
yeah, so something that's a direct improvement to the operation, I guess.
Aesthetics.
Like Uptown, we just installed a brand new floor. We just installed a brand new oak floor, and we were able to get the $7,500 to cover some of the expenses of the floor.
Okay.
Because that's something that's permanent. It's not going anywhere. We can't take it with
Can't sell it when you're
me. But we needed it. It
But
was
it's something inside your building, it wasn't outside.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it helped you in your business.
Oh God, yeah. Because that floor was a safety hazard towards the end, so we needed to redo it. So now it's all done. So I'll take some pictures and send it to everybody.
Definitely.
So it's great. Thank you, UEV.
And we would like to hear those kinds of stories all across the enterprise zone. Always.
I'm particularly heartened to hear that that people can apply for improvements that would make their homes more energy efficient. I think that's really important right now for everybody to be trying to reduce energy costs and fossil fuel consumption. So anytime, if we could help promote that kind of thing for people, because maybe somebody has a perfectly nice looking house on the outside, but it leaks like a sieve. We should encourage that so that that could be taken care of, and that is a really positive for not only the homeowner, but the community at large.
I think we've had high efficient water heaters and furnaces, new windows was on 1 or 2 grants maybe.
Insulation,
Maybe one did insulation. But yeah,
okay.
I like where your head's at though, for sort of that overall thrust of
Community.
and efficiency.
Yeah.
That's also a huge
There's
cost.
a lot of structures in this town that I know are just not energy efficient. And I know NIPSCO tries to promote that, they'll, come out and make recommendations, but if somebody makes a recommendation but they can't afford to do it, then at least, as long as they're in the zone, they could apply here and have it done.
Yeah.
Okay.
And did we have a cap on, or talk about the amount an individual can receive out of that 50,000? Out of the 50,000
For the grants, it was 5,000 per grant.
per grant?
Yeah, because that's what we had done in the past. So I just followed the criteria of past grants.
That makes sense.
Yep.
So
And so we would be able to help
That's
10
the math.
for the ARPA. So we would be able to help 10 homeowners that way.
Perfect.
Because I'm looking at,
For the ARPA grant, instead of doing the Michigan City Neighborhood Leadership, because it didn't qualify for the program, we did it for 50,000 for home repair grants, just to follow what we've been doing for the grant. So 50,000 would give 10 homeowners $5,000, up to $5,000. And if there's more homeowners that take less, we could do more.
And that's been set up already for.
We've applied for ARPA. We'll find out the end of March if we received it.
Okay.
I guess all I would ask for is, we've been fortunate to be emailed the pack. If anything changes from the time we're emailed the pack, if we could get an updated report for anything prior to the meeting, just so we can review it before coming
This
in.
is like if I do that, you want to get the on-time version, because some things like I found out today and I updated it.
Okay.
So I don't want to wait a month to give it to you.
Okay.
So usually this is my report as it's happening, I'm giving it to you. So I don't want to give it to you a week out and then things happen. Like, I gotta,
Okay.
Right.
so.
Did you hear that, Rodney?
I heard everything. I had a question for the director.
Yes.
Everything I've been hearing here, I just have to ask a question. Who's signing our checks?
It could be your chairman and usually it's your treasurer, so, which is, Scholar.
Is Skylar present?
No.
He is not.
I'm not understanding, Chair and Vice Chair, have any one of you guys been placed on our bank accounts?
No.
Nope.
At this time, I'm gonna move that our chair and our vice chair names be added to the bank account, and our president name be added to the check, as a safeguard. His signature line should be there. We cannot continue to do business as usual.
There is a motion on the floor for accountability for signatures on the banking account.
I'd motion to have the chair and vice chair on the bank account with a signature line.
A second.
So you're asking for 2 signatures per check?
Yes,
Are you removing the treasurer?
let's have a discussion. Is this up for discussion?
Talk about it. So is that, who is
So
signing
the
our?
last chair and the treasurer are on it right now.
Roddy,
But they can sign this, but there's only one signature on the check.
Only one's
Yeah,
required.
and so
No, we're
and
not.
only what's approved is signed off on, so. And the checkbooks and acceptance are sitting over there.
So
There's a motion on the floor, though. All in favor? There's a motion on the floor.
We have-
How many signatures do you want on the check? Just the one still? Just one signature required to sign the check?
Two.
Two.
So,
My recommendation would be 2, because I can't make that
but
recommendation.
your motion is for 2,
for 2
That's what it
signatures
said.
on the check.
and those 2 signatures are for whom? I would like to have clarity before I vote. Before a
What I
second.
understand for a non-for-profit, it should be the director, and our president signature must be on there. If you wanna do treasurer, that's up to,
You don't wanna
we
be
can
on
have
it.
that vote. But I believe it should be our director and our president, at my understanding, and not 503.
It's what the board desires, that's not that's not a requirement. It's whoever the board wants to be on the check.
But currently it's our treasurer and the old,
Yeah,
The former
so I would
president.
move that you put your chairman on it. As long as you're
You can-
willing to
your
be
motion.
available and.
Oh, with my motion?
All that stuff, so.
I'll amend the motion for the treasurer and the chairman to be on the check to be signed.
Joint signature.
Joint signatures.
That's key.
I'll second.
okay. Does everyone
All in
understand?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Nay,
Clarence, you said that Skylar normally does.
You'll have to vote to remove Skylar, like he's the treasurer. He is the current.
And he'll remain.
He is the
Voted
treasurer and
for
the
treasurer and
and
chairman.
president.
the treasurer.
Who's gonna sign the check then?
The treasurer and the chairman, and
The treasurer
Skylar
and the
and
chairman.
myself. But my question was, Skylar has always had the signatures.
Skylar or the chairman is one or the other. So now you guys are making it so.
No, I'm talking about in the past. I'm trying to get an
The last
understanding of.
year and a half.
Skylar has did
Skylar
that,
and Tyler.
and Tyler. Got it.
Yeah.
See, that was my problem.
Mm.
Tyler Skylar. Who was
Yeah.
Tyler Skylar? Okay, thank you. Okay.
So you will have to go to the bank and get both persons there at the same time. They will have to bring ID to the bank, and we'll have to order new checkbooks because currently there's only one signature on the checkbook. So there's some cost, there's some timing, and all that stuff. That's part of this changeover. So
Only one person was on the check. Is that what you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Only one signature was required.
One signature was
on the
required.
check.
Tyler or Skylar.
Now it'll be
could sign.
2
that'll be two.
signatures
So it
required.
means
Oh, it was
we'll
right. So
find
there
people to
was.
sign the check.
Okay, got it. I'm clear.
Okay.
My bad.
Yep.
Okay.
Did we approve the minutes?
Mr. Chair,
We did.
Yes.
Yes.
I was just wondering where we were at on the agenda. I have one more motion.
We have to approve the director's report first.
Right.
Right.
Y'all was over. I didn't know where you was at on the agenda.
You don't see it. You actually don't see it right on here.
I'll motion to approve the director's report dated December 19th, 2022.
I second that.
All in favor of approval of the director's report?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, Rodney, next up we have new business. If you want to interject or if you should carry on.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
All right, without discussing anything that was carried on in executive session, I am totally alarmed and concerned about certain loans. And at this time, until we get our act together, financially wise, I'm asking that any expenditure, let's say any expenditure over $50 should be approved by the board. And we can revisit this once we get our finance and and once we get good sound legal advice from an attorney and not somebody from the audience.
Am I chair?
You can go ahead and open for discussion.
Don't all finance approval have to come before the board anyway?
Yes.
Regardless of the dollar amount?
It does, and that's the way it should operate, but I've not seen any invoices.
Invoices in regards
Out of
to,
anything we've paid out.
Because most of your small invoices, we pay for them as part of our contract. So you don't pay for Wi-Fi, you don't pay for a whole lot of the small stuff because it's part of our contract.
Okay, so then we should still see that invoice and how that's broken down, because
It's a
No, because
gross service contract. Then I will bill you for invoicing you, okay, then you take my time to figure it out. So you don't get billed for that. So like most consultants, you get billed for driving, billed for invoicing. We don't do that. We just say it costs so much to run it, and we cover all the costs. That's part of our contract.
yeah, was in the resolution, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Yeah, so if we
That we don't
start
have-
itemizing it, that's costing us time and effort just to go do that.
Which then, and turnaround that we could get billed for the extra services.
Yeah.
But wouldn't we rather have that and have accountability of how everything is spent?
You're using shared services. So then you end up paying for office space, you end up paying for all that other stuff. That's the way the other contract was in the past. I mean, you guys, the last board didn't want it that way. So that's a contract issue, which I'm not going to discuss here. So that's something we would take on the sidebar. It's a whole contracting issue on how the contract was set up to avoid the last contract. If you want to change that, then that's something to discuss separately.
That would be an executive session.
Yeah.
But it's just shared resources is why and you're covering the cost of the shared.
Was that Rodney?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Oh, okay. A few minutes ago, we didn't even know who signed our checks. We don't know what's been going out the door. We don't know what's been coming in the door. We have somebody trying to straighten out why we haven't been receiving money. And can y'all say 100% certain that we know what's going on? If you can, and you go, and you can, this is the people's business. And I believe wholeheartedly that we need to do what's right for the people in the urban enterprise zone. I just don't feel that it's appropriate for us to continue to move forward without knowing where our money is going. It's just shameful right now. And we can change it later. Right now, we just need to get a grasp on what's going on. And I have not seen too many, matter of fact, the way that we've been seeing our reports, I believe the money has already gone out the door, and then we just sit around and either approve the treasury report, or lately here for the last year and a half that I've been around, we've just been approving what Claire's been telling us that went out the door. Thank you.
I don't know if I can respond to that.
I'm coming back to accountability and us being able to have, invoices and payable receipts in front of us, that we are able to have record of how funds are
Those are all the bills you paid
allocated.
to the date. Except for grants, these are the bills you paid this year. So, except for the grants, these are the bills you've paid. So,
And the grants are approved by the board, so we know what money's going out for that.
It's just not broken down like I would like to see it. Because when I look at, we can table this for an executive board meeting again, because my concern is when I look at the contract and I look how things are being done, the contract, that doesn't match.
Okay.
It's two different things.
Mm-hmm.
Contract is very clearly stipulates about how payables is paid out. That's not how this is being done. It says quarterly. I'm seeing monthly payments. So we just need to come back to this because it's not lining up. Period. If the contract says one thing and we're doing something different, are we in compliant?
Right.
The people that we're working with, are they in compliant if they're not doing what the contract said that they would do?
Right, but I thought that's what we all agreed to, is that we're going to get quarterly dockets instead of yearly, right? Is that
Yeah,
what
but
we're gonna do
according
moving
to
forward?
right, but according to the contract, it says that payables are supposed to happen quarterly. But when you look on our payable sheets, they've been going out monthly. So again, what he's saying is right. We just need to get it together, figure out what it is we're doing, get on the same page first.
And perhaps a more active role in collaboration between chair and president, or chair and treasurer. Thank you. I'm
Yeah.
saying secretary in my head. With you being added to checks, that'll also grant you access to the account.
Right. Now let me ask one more question, because I was looking on one document that I see that there's more than one account. Did I see that?
Yeah, there's an account with a minus in it, which we're trying to figure out exactly who's on it and what's there. So, again,
So we don't really know what that's about or where that's from.
we think it's the old PNC account. It's called
That's
National Bank.
still open?
Yep.
Yeah, if you look in the 2012 financials binder, it has some
Yeah, that's
bank
what I was,
statements
that's what I saw, and I
from
glanced through that, and I'm a little, so, okay, that's another executive board meeting when we can talk about how we've gone from one account to the next and then how that transfer happened. Because it says it's a minus? Is that what I saw? Okay.
And I guess just to ask Rodney, just to dialogue here, Rodney, are you wanting, and I know Clarence has said it takes time, and I don't know if we want to go down that path, but a detailed version of what is included within the monthly contract? Is that what you're asking?
We first of all, Clarence have the contract has been violated. But I'm just saying
In what way?
what money went out the door, the money that went out the door has already went out the door without us even approving it. We get our report and we know that some money's been spent. I never approved no money to be spent out the door other than the grant money, the money for the residents or the business.
Well,
That's all I'm saying with that one. If that answers.
I need to correct that because you have a contractual agreement that's monthly service contract. So that comes to you every month for you to approve to pay.
Now, it
So-
says in the contract, that's a quarterly payment.
I can bring it to you quarterly or monthly. You still have to pay.
But again,
So, I mean,
Clarence, we're just talking
I'm
about
trying to figure out
decency
why
and
you're hung
order.
up on a quarterly or a monthly.
By doing it with decency and order, because the
And that's
contract
fine,
said.
and that's fine.
That's why
But-
we're doing
but
it
no money
that
has
way.
gone out the door without you approving it.
But
So, I'm
that's
gonna
not
say
an
that.
accusation I made. I'm just talking about the contract and how the
And I will
contract.
no longer talk about this contract in this meeting. If you guys continue this conversation, I will have to leave. So that's not executive session.
That's up to you.
So,
That's up to you.
Mr. Chair?
so
Mr.
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
this is not productive. So we're here to do the people's business. If we're going to talk about a contract, I'm going to talk about contract in an executive session.
But it is productive, Clarence. We're trying to figure out why we are not being able to meet the obligations that have
We are.
been put in front of us.
We are.
No, we're not. We're now trying to go do some backtracking to figure out why things weren't done correctly
10
because
years
people.
ago.
Is it just 10 years ago? Did I hear 3 years ago? Isn't that what I heard? Did anybody else hear that? Did I hear 10 years ago or 3 years ago? Everybody's quiet.
It's been recurring up until now.
Never stopped.
And 8 months ago, we took over and we have discovered it, and so we're trying to correct it.
And it's never stopped.
So,
I feel like we keep talking about the same thing.
yeah, we do, and it's all very
This
unproductive.
is getting
So we just need to-
very redundant.
But we weren't really talking about the same thing, because we really were talking about the
There's
contract.
options on the table
Oh,
for
I-
us to
no, I
agree.
we can move forward, so.
We really were.
I agree with what you're saying, but we keep going back to
That. You're
Yeah,
right.
to
You're
that.
right. But we were talking about the contract, and what the contract said, our agreement was between your office and this association, and that has not been met.
I believe it's an agenda item at the end of the meeting. So right now we're supposed to be on business
With
applications.
something over, yeah.
So let's
That was
follow.
Yep. Injection. So, point of order. Tracy, did you have something you want to say?
Again, it goes back to the conversations regarding contracts as not something that we're supposed to be discussing publicly. We need to address that under an executive session.
Exactly. My apologies. Anyone else?
Rodney had a motion on the
I would like
table.
to just say, I would like, yeah, I have the motion on the floor, and, I just want to make sure that we also have to be, we must make sure we take care of the money that is coming in and out. We must protect against fraud and waste, like it or not. And at this point in time, it seems like we don't want to discuss too much of this, so I'm just going to put this on the floor. I'm going to rescind my motion, and I'm going to make a new motion. And that motion is that we terminate the contract with the economic development and bring it back to the floor with an attorney and rewrite the contract up so where it's binding with our attorneys and everyone signing it. So we quit going back and forth with this. And this is the first time we have actually tried to correct these problems, and they need to be corrected. Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor.
I have a question, Mr. McCormick. When you say attorneys, the UEZ does not have an attorney.
Since we are a non-for-profit, as we all know, we generate funds. We can go get an attorney to help us with this contract.
I understand, but I just wanted
And I
to be clear.
understand what you're saying. Yes, at this point in time, I just feel that it'd be appropriate. I'm not gonna point fingers at nobody, because I love every one of you guys in the room. That's besides the point. This is business. I would not, as a business owner, I would not enter into this nonsense. If I think the right thing for us to do at this point in time, forgive me for saying nonsense. But I think the right thing for us to do right now is to terminate this contract and revisit it as soon as possible with attorneys present, so we can make sure that this is done the right way. And we're gonna get everything we're asking for.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to terminate the contract until we can identify where the gaps and what we need to do to straighten this out. All in favor?
Mr. Chair, I'm not asking to terminate the contract until we find out about gaps and
Exactly.
this and that. I'm asking to terminate the contract. I think we have to give a notice to terminate the contract, and meanwhile, we sit down with Clarence with an attorney, and we just get it all straightened out and done, so we can move forward. Then we know what everybody.
Hold on. Go ahead, Dave.
Rodney, respectfully, I would ask for you to rescind that motion, and that we as a board and as the EDC go into a special session to dialogue. If we have to bring in I don't know if council can bring in a mediator, but try and mediate this out. I believe it's in the best interest for not only the people, the city, but both organizations to work together. to find a amends and a solution, and by terminating the contract without the dialogue, will just muddy the waters more instead of trying to work together down a path which we both want success for. If at the time of mediation that doesn't work, then I would suggest we go back with your motion to terminate. But I believe more dialogue needs to be happen with all parties.
I'm not gonna pull back my motion. If you get a second copy, you can ask for me, you can ask to get a table, but at the same time, I heard that somebody's gonna ask for an executive session to discuss the contract, which I'm fine with that too. But I just think that we need to actually get it done instead of bouncing back and forth. We are the safeguards. We are the people that must make sure things are done appropriately, done right. And I'm not gonna take that motion back, so. And if no one votes for it, that's fine with me. Just keep in mind, we can't keep beating around the bush. This is not personal, this is business. Thank you.
How quickly can we hold an executive session?
48 hours.
48 hours. We can have one by let's say by Wednesday or Thursday.
Thursday at a time.
Thursday.
It's a holiday coming up. Keep
That's
that in
true.
mind, you can't include the holiday.
That's true.
And if that be the case, if we don't put this on it and make sure we get an executive session off order now, I will rescind my motion.
Are we willing to try and put an executive session together?
There's a motion on the floor for an executive meeting. That's Friday is not open, correct? Fridays, or is it Monday?
But
No, it's
you have to
Monday.
keep in mind though, he didn't rescind, so there's still a motion on the floor. So
That's true.
either it's gonna pass
Pass
this
or not.
motion or not. That has to be resolved first.
Has it been seconded?
It has not been
It
seconded,
has not been seconded.
so
It was
motion,
placed on the floor. It hasn't been seconded.
and with the times that's lapsed, it did
Do it
not.
again?
No.
Did
it
not
did
pass. Pass. Okay. So we're moving on. It did not pass.
Now someone else can make a motion.
I would make a motion for immediate executive session to discuss the contract.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor to have an executive board meeting called as soon as possible. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Nay? Any opposed? Motion carries. Let's look at Friday.
The 13th.
Is that good?
Friday the 13th.
Friday or Monday.
Let's do it
Monday's
Friday.
a holiday.
Friday.
I am
What time?
And
I'm
I
unavailable
can't Tuesday.
Friday.
You're unavailable Friday.
I have a meeting at
Thursday?
6.
What's Thursday like?
I can't do Thursday.
Angie's fundraiser, I can't miss that.
Can we do Tuesday the 17th?
I have council.
Wednesday the 18th.
I'm available.
Huh?
I'm available.
You're available? Wednesday the 18th?
Yes.
At what time?
5 o'clock.
This saying Wednesday the 18th is the soonest, Rodney.
That's fine with me. We're a
Okay.
destination.
I can't
That's
go.
what
I
we're
have
supposed to
a
do.
main
I'm
state
with
at
that.
5, so.
Thank you.
It's okay though, it's executive.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll make sure
Yeah.
I get all the information to you,
Okay.
friend.
Okay.
So it's been moved and seconded that we will move this meeting till January the 18th on Wednesday at
5.
5 o'clock. Sounds good.
One last thing for me, if you don't mind. I've read our bylaws, and I want to make this clear that, Mr. Clarence, we are entitled, all of us are entitled to look at our records. And if this is going to continue to become a problem as well, I think that we should take custody of our records. Because every one of us have the absolute right to see our records. And it has not been taking place. Is that correct, Mr. Chair?
That is correct. Like, I would like to be able to take, and I think the board should do that as well, some of these documents and look at them so we can get an
You
idea.
have to look at them in the building. You can't take them outside the building.
Who said that? Who?
We are guardians of those property till we give.
This is our property. This is urban, oh yeah, it's urban enterprise zone property,
We are
Clarence.
responsible for it, so you can't leave the building. You can come and see it anytime you want. You can make.
That's not true, Clarence.
Okay.
That's not true.
Now we're trying to argue with you. That's
I'm not arguing with you either. It's not true. You don't have control over these documents.
It's, we have to, we're responsible for it.
Right, and it says very clearly in the guidance what
Inspect,
can.
copy.
Wait, show me that. Show me that.
See, when you do this to the clerk, you gotta inspect, copy.
Show me that where it says that these documents cannot be removed.
We can have this conversation in executive session.
We don't have. Point of order.
So, anyway.
Our bylaws are there. It clearly states those records belong to us. They are unforgivable.
To the whole board.
Those records belong to the urban enterprise zone.
But
And-
if you want to make another building, just work out a vote for that to happen, then we're the one responsible for it. Just as long as you're aware of that. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. We are guardians of that property, of your property. And so we have to keep it here, inspect, copy. If you want, anybody can come and take it. They'll sign off on it, and it's your responsibility to get it back, because we can't chase somebody to get it back. So, FYI. That's why in the city clerk's office, you go inspect, copy, but it stays there. She's responsible for it. As your contractor, we're responsible for all the records that have come into our hands. And so you cannot leave the building. But if you guys change the rules of public documents, we're willing to do that. But as long as you're aware that we're no longer responsible for it, once a person signs off on it.
Okay, so we've been asking for, so we need to go back to the executive board meeting again, because I have some questions about that, asking for these documents. As long as we've been asking for these documents, can we be sure that since we've been asking for these documents over the last 8 or 9 months, that none of them have left this building?
Storage facility.
Can we be sure that none of these documents have left the
We can't be
building?
sure of anything. They were locked up for 2 years in the building, and we didn't even know they were there, so.
So am I hearing you say that you can confess that they have been locked away? None of these documents have belonging to UEZ have been removed.
Once they got to in our hands, they were locked up in our office.
You haven't removed any.
Before that, there was somewhere else, so.
Okay.
I would say this should be a discussion we continue during the executive session.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that? What was that?
We're going to continue this discussion at the executive session on the 18th.
Yes, okay, that's fine. With that being said, I'm gonna move that we allow our president to get an accurate count of all records that's in place. And then that way we want to make sure nothing's being destroyed or what's there and what won't be there, just in case.
There is a motion on the floor to make sure that all the records have been managed by the manager of the Urban Enterprise Zone, and that she keeps control of those records until we meet on the 18th.
That the EDC keeps control of records. To get to the 18th.
I'll motion for that.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. And the reason of my nay is the request makes sense, but we can't hold an entity responsible for something that happened before they contracted with us. And again, that falls under contractual conversation.
What are you referring to?
As far as the records, the information, to verify how long that EDMC had those records, but they can only be accountable from the time that they contracted with UEZ for any records
But
that
that's
they
all
had.
we're speaking
So
of.
that's all. That's
all we're speaking of.
Oh, okay. Not
That's
the
it.
prior
No,
to that.
no.
And just for the record, any meetings we have, it's public documents. They're all transmitted to the city clerk's office after there's a meeting. So
Exactly.
anything you want for the last year and a half, she's got. In terms of the bank records, you can ask them for whatever they've got. So records are out there electronically and whatever else. So whatever you're looking for there's financial records from the bank. There's all our meeting minutes and documents at the city clerk's office.
I think, respectfully, I think the motion is a snapshot in time from now moving forward that we have
Exactly.
that we have record.
That's all. We're not trying to dig into anything else that's going to cause a major problem at this point. We just want to have the right information moving forward so that we're moving with some decency and in order. Period. That's it. That's the
Yeah,
plan.
just keep track of what we already have. Whatever you have there, Clarence, I know that it came from another agency. We just want one person to just tally them up and just say, okay, I know this is here and that's that. So, so we can stop this right now. So we just want to know what we do have. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Tillman.
So that
Motion carries.
motion carries. Is there anything else? I don't think that we even need to go to the final.
The residential application didn't hit on, Flaring Wilson.
Well, those are information only, but I mean, in terms of the SEH recommendations,
Yeah.
we need to have that to move forward. So we
Yeah.
can't do anything unless you guys decide how you're gonna move forward. And in our executive session, you guys discuss option 1 and 3.
Option,
So you have to publicly vote on those options for us to do anything.
okay.
That's right.
Do we have to present these, or can we have SEH explain them and then we?
No, you may explain what the options are, and we had a discussion in the executive session. And at this point, the board have to decide what options, I think there were 1 and 3 that there was consensus on.
Well, I think,
Could not vote on.
I think, is it appropriate if we're given the 3 options, we vote on each one individually, or do we combine the 2? What is appropriate? I think as a board, we're leaning towards 2.
Or name all 3 of the options, and all those, and you can do all those that's in favor of options 1 and 3.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Okay. I mean, do you feel confident in conveying
Because the
those
consensus,
options?
everyone said that they were in agreement
Right.
on 1 and 3.
Right, in the executive session. But there were a couple of board members that were not present for that.
Right. That's true.
So in order to convey those,
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Yes, but hold on, Rodney, because the conversation here is about making the motion to approve items 1 and 3 on the
I
tax
understand.
shelter program, and we need to do that so we can at least finish that before we go to anything else, unless this is something pertaining to that.
And then we need to do that in order to request for the resolution.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ms. Tillman. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I was just following up that once we approve 1 and 3, then we need to have that done first so that then we can make a motion for the resolution.
So the proposal from SEH, we were given 3 options. The first was to go back to the individual companies that have contributed, alert them of the misbilling, give them a 1 year, go back 1 year. We will credit them based on the funds that they have contributed, and then allow them individually to go back a second year and self-audit and come back, and we would credit those. Is that that's the understanding?
That's the understanding I thought I heard, and it made sense to me. But if it's something different, somebody tell me.
That is my understanding of the SEH recommendation.
And that's how it's written here too in the memorandum, so it's right.
The second option was a waiver of noncompliance, which would be more straining on resources and would not be beneficial for either party to go after or pursue. And then the third option would be going and campaigning with other businesses within the urban enterprise zone to show them the benefits of contributing, and in turn they would contribute and we'd be able to benefit as a group grow the fund.
Yeah.
So my proposal is for option 1 and 3. Going back,
There's a
1.
fourth too, though.
Oh,
Fourth option, well, and here it is.
Their memorandum, right.
A clawback provision should be adopted by the board similar to the way the city handles economic revitalization area deductions, otherwise known as tax abatements.
The collections policy.
Yeah, you should have a copy.
I printed copies. They were in the executive ones, and I printed extra copies. They were on the table.
The one that there's the,
Yeah, I'm gonna make some extra copies.
What is SEH?
They were are they consulting? They're a consulting firm that specializes in UEZs and best billing practices.
So it's an acronym for their company.
Yes.
Right, Elliott Henderson. That's short. Elliott Henderson. Elliott Henderson.
Here's the here's the collection policy.
So did we?
we have it.
So there's still options. Are we looking at 1 and 3 still and 4, or just 1 and 3?
Do you have any? Just 1 and 3, I just wanna make sure all 4 options.
Do we have any extras?
He can take mine. Okay.
I know we had a whole bunch of it over here.
Yeah, I had a bunch of them out on the table.
So is there any discussion, or is there a motion on the floor?
I'm motioning to adopt items 1 and 3 to reconcile what's been done.
There's a motion on the floor to reconcile issues and concerns about the tax credit program. All in favor?
Aye.
I'll second that.
Oh, can I get a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? My bad, Dave.
I
Those opposed? Motion carries.
Yay!
Thank you.
You said 1 and 3. Are you referring to the paragraphs?
No, two separate options. That's the
the-
collections policy, which is
Yeah.
a separate item on our agenda.
it's in the memo.
Oh, I see. Thank you.
And could we in the report list out what 1 and 3 is specifically?
In the minutes, yeah.
In the minutes.
And that's with the increase from 25 to 35.
Correct. That is listed in the.
Did we need to make that recommendation though?
Yeah,
From 20
you guys can't change it, council has to change it.
The city council does?
Okay.
And is
We
that?
recommend it to the city council.
Right, that's what I was going to say. So we do need to make that recommendation from this board. And that is something that Gabrielle will send forward, or is it we need to send it
We have to
forward?
get an attorney to write resolution for us.
Okay. And we have that person, correct? We know
Yeah,
who.
we had. He may not longer be, I mean, it's been 2 or 3 years since he's been.
So is he still in town?
He's in town. I will have to come back in and see if he's willing to work for us. So if not, we'll have to find somebody else.
And that shouldn't be a problem though, correct? Okay, Tracy, what is
Those
it?
questions.
Well, you're going to say something. I see you looking on your face. Come on now, tell me what it is
We
you're
have to call and
thinking.
ask. So.
Okay.
No, I'm good.
Unbelievable.
Do we have to discuss and approve the collection policy as well then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can.
We can.
Okay.
Thank you.
With everything that's being said, I'm totally uncomfortable moving forward with this stuff without having legal advice of our own and the remainder of this agenda as well. Because we don't know what's going to happen in a week or so when we have this meeting. With that being said, I move to table everything until after the executive session. Thank you.
There's a motion on the floor for us to table any of this matter around the tax credit program and any other parts of the agenda until after we have the executive board meeting on January the 18th. All in favor? Is there a second? I have a second on that. No second? Okay, I guess we're keeping on going then.
We have to indicate a motion.
Indicate a motion to continue.
No. The motion failed.
A motion failed. We need to continue to move forward with the agenda.
I feel it's in the best interest of this organization to keep moving forward.
Well, let's just go with the agenda. Come on, next. What's next? Okay.
I would propose to approve the collection policy of the Urban Enterprise Association.
Yes, I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Rodney?
Nay.
Ayes have it.
Okay, so next is the EDCMC contract.
Which
That'll
is
be-
being tabled for the executive
Which is
session.
I motion table. Do I have the motion table?
Yes.
I motion to table the EDMC contract until we have the executive session and bring it up for review at our next scheduled meeting in February.
There's a motion on the floor to remove that item from the agenda this evening and revisit it on the 18th. Can I have a second?
Second.
Ayes.
Hold on. He said the
February.
February meeting.
January.
He said in the
January
February
18th
meeting.
right?
Can we conduct this in January?
We were supposed to have an executive session
On
on
the
the 18th.
18th.
So you need to correct your
Right.
motion.
We review the the EDMC contract January 18th and then review it after that session, or during that session?
During that session.
During that session.
There's a motion on the floor to revisit the contract on the 18th. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. We'll get that together. Meeting adjourned.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
We need to open for public comment first.
Public comment?